afternoon, everybody. Again, Just Us in America coming to you. Um, wanting to talk about some things today. There's a whole lot going on, and it's actually, I won't say it's hard to begin, but I was going to come forward today and I was going to talk about, energy and trying to have a proper balance, and we still need to do that. Where we create a type of alignment where we're in balance with the universe and trying to attract the proper energy to ourselves and to our lives and to the people that we have a circle with, where we can continue to move forward. I had said some time ago on one of the podcasts, about a month or so ago, with all the killings that are going on in the country and the repercussions that are going to become behind that. And we just recently, as of I believe it was last night, I was just looking at the news and we're witnessing these murders in Paris. And it may sound a little grim, because I had said on one of the podcasts, for every one black man that is murdered, I said there would be 20 more persons on the other side. Not that I'm happy about this, and I don't really get a sense of gratification out of it, but it's like karma, and I was always taught whatever you sow, you're going to reap it. So karma has a way of finding you, and we have these different factions around the world who are doing different things, and we have to look at our own government, and our government for a long time has been very corrupt. They go across the world and they seize other people's lands and resources and properties, and I mean just a whole gamut of things. And you look at this, and we are as people in this country, we sit back, and some of us have a voice, and there are different groups out there that are protesting and speaking against different things. But then you have a segment of people who don't do anything because they feel privileged that by putting your foot on someone else's neck, I can continue in the same type of lifestyle, in the same type of way of life that I've been doing for years, because it's benefiting me, it's benefiting my children. My children go to great schools, they have great health care. We don't worry about how we're going to pay the rent, how we're going to pay the mortgage, how we're going to pay the car note, how we're going to put food on the table. But then you have a large segment of people that live in this country and around the world who this is their main thought every day. Is how am I going to feed my children? How am I going to send my kids to school without there being any obstructions in terms of violence, racism? Can I just go to school peacefully and get my education? Can I go to work without feeling like I'm being threatened every day? And so we see these things happening because it's pretty obvious that there's a group of people who just don't get it. Now, I'm not pointing to one group, because I even said before, in terms of black people, African Americans, call them whatever you want to call them, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do in terms of us coming together. But the psychosis and the psychology of what has happened to black folks is because of this whole dismantling of identity, this whole dismantling of taking people out of their spirituality, taking people out of their thinking, reducing them down to anything less than what they originally were, and so there is a psychosis that comes along with this, and there's actually a mental sickness that comes along with the fact that these folks have been damaged, and so of course they're acting out. And I don't want to say this to make excuses for people, but a lot of what's happening with black folks, they're acting out of a mental psychosis of something that's happened to them many, many, many years ago. And their only way to respond to a certain thing is to respond in a survival mode. I seen one time where something was said where if you create conditions for a group of people, and then because of those conditions, a person responds according to those conditions, then you want to penalize those people. You've created the conditions, and now when I respond to the conditions, because I have a family, number one, I have to support my family as best I can. I have to try to live as best I can, meaning, you know, you do the things that normal people do every day. I got to pay bills, I got to eat, I got to send my, you know, you got to go to school, you got to live, rent, and I mean, all these things. And so, if the conditions are created by government, by people, and then you respond to the conditions because I have to survive, then you penalize those people because of the conditions that you created, you know. And of course, you would have those people who would say, well, you don't have to do that because they always got a few people who so-called pull themselves up by the bootstraps or figure like, I was able to do this and I was able to do that. Yeah, those are little pockets of people who have done some things, and more times than not, those type of people are the ones who don't do anything because they feel comfortable and they feel like I got my little heaven over here, so I feel like I don't want to jeopardize that, and so I'm not going to have a voice when it comes to anything in regards to speaking against what I see that is wrong. And so this is what we're dealing with. And just last week I believe it was, with the situation we have in Missouri, where the president of the school had to resign because there were ongoing racial epithets that were put forth towards a lot of the students there, you know, who are just trying to go to school. And you have people coming in the dorm rooms or dorm hallways, and they're putting swastikas on the wall written in feces. And this has been going on for a long, long time. There's been so much racial tension at this institution that the people finally spoke up. And they said, we're not going to go for it anymore. And mind you, there were even white folks who were sitting in with these black students who felt like it was their duty, which is to stand what's right, what's for right, you know? And so they did that. And a lot of times people, they're doing that because people are fearful. They don't want the repercussions. They don't want the feedback and the negative feedback. And so people should be able to live. People should be able to go to school and work and live where they want and do what they need to do to protect themselves and to protect their families. And why shouldn't I be able to do that? Because you feel like, I'm black, the color of my skin impedes me from being able, it should impede me from being able to live and take care of my family, you know, and take care of myself and get an education and live like a decent human being, you know. So what they did was, the football players, they stepped out, they said, we're not gonna play this game. And it spoke volumes. And the school looked at this and they said, we stand to lose $1 million if these guys don't play. So sometimes you gotta hit people in their pockets. They understand that. They understand that. You know, they don't understand walking around with signs and all that stuff. That don't work no more. You got to hit them where it hurts. And that's what they did. And so now they're getting results. And so that's what I say. You know, you make people understand that, you know, you're not going to go for this, and something needs to be done. And so obviously the president, I think the chancellor as well, I don't know if he stepped down, but I know the president did. And I'm sure the alumni told him, look, man, you got to go. You got to go, because you waited around, you knew this was going on, and you refused to step forward in a timely fashion to make something happen. So now it was a little too late when he did step forward. And hopefully this is a start to, you know, rebuilding some things at that institution. And, you know, I kudos out to the black students there. You know, you guys did a great job, and keep the push up, and keep it up, because we need more people who are going to stand for what's right. Because, I mean, we're in 2015, getting ready to go into 16, and we're still dealing with the same old Jim Crow mentality, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's just that, I mean, what's wrong with these people? I mean, can't we live as decent human beings? I mean, we built the country. What more do you want? You know what I'm saying? You don't want us to have reparations. You feel like we're not entitled to that. You're giving it to the Jews. You're giving it to the Koreans. You're giving it to, who else have you given it to? I mean, but when it comes time for us to get our just due, you want to ignore us, you know? And this is your hatred. This is your hatred towards us because we have black skin, because we're melanated. We're beautiful. We are a beautiful people. We always have been. And you know this. You know this. It's not surprising to you. You know where we come from. We come up from a great, great, great civilization. You know, the proof of what we've done still stands to this day. All you got to do, look in Africa. And now we have the Japanese over there, the people in Japan, they're doing business with the Africans. What is their real motivation? Just to come in, to take the resources like everyone else is doing, and leave the people over there poor. I mean, that's our land. That's our resources. We're entitled to it. You know, and it's like you guys, you don't want us to have anything. You know, I mean, how long is this going to go on? But I will say this, and I said it before. You continue on the road that you're on, and I'm telling you, it's going to be more murders. There are going to be more killings because guess what? People of you around the world are tired of what you're doing. They're not going to have it. They're tired of what you're doing. And as long as you continue on this path, I'm telling you, the news is going to be filled with murders, with murders, with murders. I'm telling you. My word, I already said it before. Here we are with Paris. Here we are with the jet going down in Russia. So you'll get it sooner or later. You'll get it sooner or later. Because I know it's hard for you to let go. Because you've enjoyed this privilege for so long, you know, on the backs of other folks. You know, on the backs of other folks' wealth, on the backs of other folks' resources. You've enjoyed it. It's what built this country. It's what made this country great. Like you going to, particularly Africa, which has all the resources in the world. I was just speaking with a gentleman friend of mine who's actually controlling the camera. He was talking about something about they're going over to Africa to get the chips for the computers, and they're murdering people and they're doing all kinds of dastardly things. So, you know, it's crazy. But we'll come back with more, and hopefully we'll be able to, you know, the Bible talks about let us reason together. But as you can see, there's no reason with some people, no reasoning with some people. You know, so, you know, just to let things take its course. And it's not always pretty, but it has to happen. You know, and so we'll be back hopefully next week, and we'll talk again. So have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.